the ride for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Adapt in Advance. No other than Mr. Wally Babatunde. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Wally. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm a I'm actually in transition right now. A resident in psychiatry, fourth year resident. So I'm transitioning by the end of this month to go an attending psychiatrist. I'm the author of Adapt and Advance, a faith-based guide to turn trials into triumph. And I'm excited to be here today, originally from Africa, but currently in the United States. And I'm excited to be here today to be part of this podcast.
Mr. Wally Babatunde, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And tell us, how does your approach reject passive suffering while staying rooted in faith?
So my journey, it's a little bit been long and twisted, but it's been rooted in faith, and it's been a lot of suffering going through different phases of my life. The very first suffering I experienced, or the most defining early suffering I experienced, has been multiple, were the loss of my mother when I was 7 years old back in Nigeria. And then shortly at the age of 13, 6 years later, my father also died. So as a teenager, I became an orphan, and life was tough. Life was hard back in Nigeria. And but I quickly found my feet, and faith is one of the things that helped me to be able to like find my feet and be able to define my voice, to be able to identify my purpose. All of the things I talked about in my book. And I'm glad that all of what the past years, everything seemed to have tied together, and I've been able to put everything together and be where I am today.
And we salute you for that, Mr. Wally. We salute you for being you.
Thank you so much.
What lesser known scripture character best embodies your methodology?
Can you say that again?
What lesser known scripture character best embodies your methodology?
So scripture character that I think embodies my methodology the most, honestly, I think is Joseph from the Bible, whose life was very tough and hard and rough. Like for those who are familiar with the story, I think at the age of 17, he was sold by his blood
Brothers.
brothers
Yes.
to slavery. And that's led to a lot of horrors. Eventually ended up in prison in Egypt, then, long time ago. Uh, and but one thing that happened to him at the end of everything, everything eventually made sense, because he eventually became like the prime minister of Egypt, like second in command to the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, by that time. So I think he's one of the characters in the Bible that I think I relate to with the most, and that has really shaped my journey. And I love one verse from him in Genesis 50:20, which is one of my top seven scriptures. That though you meant it for evil for me, but God meant it for good. Which means at times some of the situations we pass through in life that seems to be meant, for evil, or seem to want to push us down, eventually can turn around if we are able to make meaning out of it.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Wally, Joseph the Dreamer is one of my favorite stories in the Bible too. How magnificent is the faith in God, the character of Joseph itself, tested through thick and thin, and yet he has a faith in God. How do you reconcile taking practical steps with releasing control to God?
Yes, I think this is where, thank you for that question. It's a great one. And I think this is where maybe a lot of people of faith seem to have like, maybe if I've prayed enough for something, do I still need to take a lot of action? And, I have a whole section dedicated in my book, actually, the second section dedicated to action taking. Even if we have faith in God, we also need to take action, practical steps that will move us towards what we want. And there's actually a Bible verse that tells us that faith without action or without works is dead. So all of us need to understand that no matter what we do, we always need to take back whatever we believe in with actions. And like one of my mentors will always say that God gave us a brain so that we can give him some rest. We don't have to like, it's not every single thing that we have to like take to God, like do this, do this. We have a brain and we could use our brain to solve problems. That's why, for example, we have doctors. I'm a psychiatrist, for example. We don't go there and pray for patients or it's okay, we can need patients that believe in it, but we've got to use our brain to solve their problems. The same thing with all other areas of life, whether you're in engineering, you're in construction, whatever area of life where you are, we've got to use our brain to solve problems and to move forward. So we all have to keep taking action. We can, of course, there's a place for prayer, which ties everything together, but we also need to be able to reconcile that although I've prayed, although I'm trusting God, but there are some actions that I need to take. And I call it massive action that we need to take to get to where we're going.
Very well said, Mr. Wally. Beautifully,
Thank you so
beautifully
much.
articulated.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Daniel.
How do you help people lament without losing faith?
Helping people without them losing faith while you are helping them. It's okay to for example, like I said, I might talk a little bit about psychiatry here because that's what I do every day, most of the time. And when you are helping people not to lose faith, you have to help people. The biggest thing is you have to help people to understand and have an awareness that whatever they are going through, uh, it's temporary and it's not permanent, and it's there for a season or for a reason. And this brings us back to the concept of meaning making. So the biggest thing we have to help people to understand is that there is a meaning they can make from the challenges that they are having right now. And I always use Viktor Frankl's book on man's search for meaning to explain meaning making. One of the things he said in the book is, at times contributing to others. So at times we need to get out of ourselves and realize there's a bigger purpose in whatever I'm going through. So we try to help people to see that bigger purpose, the bigger picture. And some of the bigger picture could be I'm going through this so I can help somebody else who is also going through similar situations, either later or now. Or I've gone through it before. Like for me, I freely talk about losing my parents. I freely talk about failing some exams in the past, just so that people can be inspired and be encouraged and know that you are part of a bigger picture. And there's hardly any successful person, no matter who they are, who has not gone through different tough seasons of their life. So all of it is part of a bigger picture. So we help people to see the big picture.
Yes, big picture indeed. So, what specific prompts transform pain into purpose on paper?
So transforming pain into purpose, specifically, in my book, I went through 7 different specific things, which I gave 7 different sections. The first of it is meaning making, which I already talked about. We've got to just make meaning. The second of it is action. we've got to take action. Action is very important. Like we said, it's not just about praying and trusting alone. We also need to back up whatever we want with the necessary action. Another way to transform things around is through planning. Our actions will only be very helpful when we have a plan backing it up. And I use different framework to explain, planning and how like we've got to learn how to capture things, organize ourselves, and move in the direction close to us. And then L brings us to learning. I always recommend people reading at least one book every month. Personally, I read one book every week. Though I listen, most of the time I use Audible. But I recommend people. So you've got to read stories of people. It helps you to put things in perspective. You see worse stories than yours. You see some not as worse. You see different stories and how they were able to navigate those stories to be who they are today. And then that brings us to A, which is alliance formation. You can't do life alone. You've got to move with other people and you need relationships in your life. Then brings us to M, which is mission statement. Each one of us needs to have our own personal mission statement. I read mine to myself every single day, and the last one is prayers. So it's a lot of all of this together. I believe functioning and working with all of them together will definitely transform our pain into purpose, and we'll be able to manage whatever situations we have.
Yes, people, focus, focus, focus indeed. And Mr. Wally, what is specific or how do you build a support team without burdening others?
As an author coming up,
Yes.
okay. So thank you for asking that question. So as an author coming up, one of the things that I think I have learned and in the whole process is for me, it's helped me to writing helped me to realize that honestly, I've been through so many pains in life, and it's brought a lot. It was extremely emotional. It brought a lot of things back to the surface that I've been maybe eating a little bit back. And the reason I wrote all of this is just so I could be a blessing to other people. So in every chapter of my book, I wrote some story of myself that explained the point that I'm explaining. And I also wrote some stories of other, maybe more successful, more well known people, just so to put things in perspective that these are principles that all the people have used that worked for them. So, as a coming author, I really look forward to see this book, Blessing Lives. I see it help people to discover purpose. One thing I want people, anybody that gets my book and read it, I want them to walk away with renewed hope and believe that there's pain. The pain, every pain they are going through has a purpose.
Renewed hope. Totally, totally agree. Mr. Wally, we need to give hope for people out there losing hope. Why is thanking God for the storm so transformative?
The storm, and thank you, that's a wonderful question. The storm can really, really, really be so transformative. Like I gave us the story of Joseph. Perhaps if he was never sold by his brothers into a strange land, he would never reach the peak of his destiny.
Yes.
So the storm can be very transformative, even as nobody really likes it. Ideally, we all want to just want life to be sweet and rosy, which is okay, a good dream to have. Uh, but at times, we've got to go through tough times and tough situations to bring out the best in us. So those storms are not meant to hurt us. They are not meant to like destroy us. Those storms, I'm making meaning now. those storms, those storms that we go through are not meant to destroy us, but those storms. So because number 3 point by Viktor Frankl in making meaning is our attitude towards the problem. So those storms are not meant to destroy us. Those storms are meant to make us better. So that attitude changes everything if we have it. So, and it helps us to have the right perspective. It helps us to see the storm in the way we are supposed to see it, such that we know that this is not here to destroy me. This is here to refine me and to help me get better. And when I cross over to the other side, I have a better story to say.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Wally, as an author and a psychiatrist, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
So for me, as an author, my long-term goal, my short-term goal, I just published this like the first book, I would say technically, to yeah. I call it number one. I think I call it number two, but overall, I think believe it's number one. Just published, and the ebook will be out on July 1st. So if you are watching, please put that on your calendar to make sure to get the ebook. It's going to be $1, 0.99. So $1 on July 1st. And that will be the launching date. So if you are watching this, you can get it for $1 on July 1st, 2025. So my dream for it is to touch lives, is to bless lives. Like I said, I want everyone that reads the book to walk away with renewed hope and the belief that their pain has a purpose in it. That's my biggest dream every day. So that's the big thing for the first book. So I also plan to publish more other books, and I want my books, like the next book I'm working on has to do with more of psychiatry. This one is more of life generally, for anybody. But the second one will be focusing mainly on psychiatry, look, teaching people how to overcome mental health challenges and how uh, despite all that is happening in the world, all the things that are scary that are going on, how to keep our mental health good and for us to be able to live a mentally balanced life. So the second book is going to be about that. I plan to also write books in the future about relationships, books about transition. There are just so many stories. I have a list of other books that are sitting right inside of me. And I look forward to see these books bless lives all over the world, thousands, millions of people, perhaps all over the world, as we continue to do that. Then, as a psychiatrist, my short-term goal, I'm starting my role as an attending physician in July, and I'm excited for my next step. My
Yes.
yeah, and I'm also a researcher, so my short-term goal is to see my patients, to help them to be the best, get better, to help my residents. And as a researcher, I hope to also discover things that will help me help my patients better on the long term. Long term goal to be a professor, be someone of impact to my patients, to my residents, to my students, to my colleagues, and to people all over the world generally with my practice. And that's why my next book is on psychiatry.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Wally, and looking forward for more and more success to your life. And congratulations for your achievement in life. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author and I want to be a psychiatrist like you?
The piece of advice is it might be difficult, but it is doable. It might be difficult, but it is doable. Don't ever give up on your dream. Don't live less than you have the potential or the capacity to be. There's something inside of every one of us. There's something God has put there for you to be a blessing to yourself first, and also a blessing to the world at large, including your family, your colleagues, where you work, and everything. So there's something in you. So recognize that you have something sitting right there in you to bless your world and be the best version of yourself. So my advice is be the best version of yourself. Like my own mission statement is to fulfill God's purpose and be the best version of myself as I move from one level of success and value to a greater level of success and value. And to be a blessing to people around me that God has placed on my path. So I want everybody to live their life with this understanding that there's something in me, no matter what I am, no matter what I'm going through, that is there to bless my world. And make sure you keep moving and keep pushing until you get the best out of everything that you have.
Yes, indeed. I want to be the best of me, to be the mighty on the land, to be, well, the head, not the tail, the victor, not
Mhm.
the victim itself. And
Mhm.
thank you for your advice, Mr. Wally. And how do you prevent old survival patterns from resurfacing?
Old patterns from resurfacing, we've got to have a plan from old patterns from resurfacing in our lives. So you've got to have a plan and understand that without a plan, things are likely to repeat itself in our lives. For example, now, my mother died much younger. I'm older than her now at the time of her death. My father also died at a young age. I'm older than him now at the time of his death. But I had to decide that I won't die young, and I have to put things in place. I take care of my health, I exercise, I eat healthy diet, I do things like that. But there has to be a plan. So don't live your life to chance. Don't live your life, any area of your life, whether it's your physical life or your spiritual life or your emotional life. Don't live any part of it. One of the reasons I read one book every week right now is because I don't want to live my life to chance. I want to keep learning, and I'll keep doing that all my life. I want to keep learning to know the things that I need to do to see how successful people made it and they continued to remain successful. So every single day I learn something new to add to my life. So one of the ways to prevent recurring bad patterns in our life is to keep learning every single day. So I would recommend at least every month, make sure there's one new book that you decide to read to help you and to bless you.
Yes. People learn every day because your brain needed. And before we wrap up our discussion today, Mr. Wally, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in each fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them
Wow.
wherever you listen your podcasts. Mr. Wally, what trial from your life become this book's most raw chapter?
Can you say that again?
Which or what trial from your life become this book's most raw chapter?
From my life, the book, the trials from my life that maybe has been the biggest in the books that I wrote is the loss of my parents. Like I said, loss of my mother when I was 7, loss of my father when I was 13. And maybe another big trial I would say is there was this exam I wrote in 2018 that I failed in preparation to practice medicine in the US. So I think those were some of the trials in my life that I believe has been converted to triumphs today, and I could look back and say I'm so grateful that those trials. I talked about them in the book and how I was able to navigate all of that. There was this particular exam I took as a resident. My first year was 10th percentile. I was very sad nationally, and then I worked very hard. Second year, it became 84th percentile. The third year, it became 92nd percentile. And the fourth year, it became 95th percentile nationally. So I was able to improve slowly. And those were all part of the things and I used my story to be a blessing to other people and then to also help other people in the program to do good. So,
To be good for sure, Mr. Wally Babatunde. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your books, or any projects that you're doing right now?
Thank you so much.
So, where do people buy your book, Mr. Wally?
So my book is on Amazon. So if they click on Adapt and Advance with my name on Amazon, my book is going to come up.
Yes, upcoming people, please support Mr. Wally Babatunde because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Wally, thank you so much for your time.
You are so much welcome. And finally, I will say July 1st is the best day to get the ebook for $1. Adapt and Advance by Oluwole Babatunde.
Yes, people. And again, thank you so much. More to come, people. See you soon.